Democratic Republic. 240. India's form of government, traditionally described as quasi-federal with a strong centre and weak states. 241. Has grown increasingly federal since the late 1990s as a result of political, economic, and social changes. 242. 243. National symbols. 1. Flag Tiranga, tricolour, emblem Sonath lion, capital anthem Jana Gana Mana Song Vande Mataram, language 9, 10, 11. Currency, Indian rupee, calendar Seika, animal Bengal tiger, river dolphin, Indian peafowl, flower lotus fruit mango tree banyan river Ganges. The government of India comprises three branches. Sad Smiley. 244. Executive. The President of India is the ceremonial head of state. 245. Who is elected indirectly for out-of-year term by an electoral college comprising members of national and state legislatures. 246. 247. The Prime Minister of India is the head of government and exercises most executive power. 248. Appointed by the President. 249. The Prime Minister is by convention supported by the party or political alliance having a majority of seats in the lower House of Parliament. 248. The executive of the Indian government consists of the President, the Vice President, and the Union Council of Ministers, with the Cabinet being its executive committee headed by the Prime Minister. Any minister holding a portfolio must be a member of one of the Houses of Parliament. 245. In the Indian parliamentary system, the executive is subordinate to the legislature. The Prime Minister and their council are directly responsible to the lower house of the Parliament. Civil servants act as permanent executives and all decisions of the executive are implemented by them. 250. Legislature. The legislature of India is the bicameral parliament. Operating under Westminster-style parliamentary system, it comprises an upper house called the Rajya Sabha, Council of States, and a lower house called the Lok Sabha, House of the People. 251. The Rajya Sabha is a permanent body of 245 members who serve staggered 6-year terms. 252. Most are elected indirectly by the state and union territorial legislatures in numbers proportional to their state's share of the national population. 249. All but two of the Lok Sabha's 545 members are elected directly by popular vote. They represent single-member constituencies for 5-year terms. 253. 2 seats of Parliament, reserved for Anglo-Indian in the Article 331, have been scrapped. 254. 255. Judiciary. India has a 3-tier unitary independent judiciary. 256. Comprising the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice of India, 25 high courts, and a large number of trial courts. 256. The Supreme Court has original jurisdiction over cases involving fundamental rights and over disputes between states and the centre, and has appellate jurisdiction over the high courts. 257. It has the power to both strike down union or state laws which contravene the Constitution. 258. And invalidate any government action it deems unconstitutional. 259. Administrative divisions. India is a federal union comprising 28 states and 8 union territories. 16. All states, as well as the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir, Puducherry and the National Capital Territory of Delhi, have elected legislatures and governments following the Westminster system of governance. The remaining 5 union territories are directly ruled by the central government through appointed administrators. In 1956, under the States Reorganization Act, States were reorganized on a linguistic basis. 260. There are over 250,000 local government bodies at city, town, block, district and village levels. 261. Applicable map of the 28 states and 8 union territories of India states. 1 Andhra Pradesh. 2 Arunachal Pradesh. 3 Assam. 4 Bihar. 5 Chhattisgarh. 6 Goa. 7 Gujarat. 8 Haryana. 9 Himachal Pradesh. 10 Jharkhand. 11 Karnataka. 12 Kerala. 13 Madhya Pradesh. 14 Maharashtra. 15 Manipur. 16 Meghalaya. 17 Mizoram. 18 Nagaland. 19 Odisha. 20 Punjab. 21 Rajasthan. 22 Sikkim. 23 Tamil Nadu. 24 Telangana. 25 Tripura. 26 Uttar Pradesh. 27 Uttarakhand. 28 West Bengal. Union Territories. Andaman and Nicobar Islands. B. Chandigarh. C. Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. D. Jammu and Kashmir. E. Ladakh. F. Lakshadweep. G. National Capital Territory of Delhi. H. Puducherry. Foreign, Economic and Strategic Relations. During the 1950s and 60s, India played a pivotal role in the non-aligned movement. 262. From left to right, Gamal Abdel Nasser of United Arab Republic, now Egypt, Josip Broz Tito of Yugoslavia and Jawaharlal Nehru in Belgrade September 1961. In the 1950s, India strongly supported decolonization in Africa and Asia and played a leading role in the non-aligned movement. 263. After initially cordial relations with neighboring China, India went to war with China in 1962, and was widely thought to have been humiliated. 264. India has had tense relations with neighboring Pakistan. The two nations have gone to war 4 times, in 1947, 1965, 1971, and 1999. 3 of these wars were fought over the disputed territory of Kashmir, while the 4th, the 1971 war, followed from India's support for the independence of Bangladesh. 265. In the late 1980s, the Indian military twice intervened abroad at the invitation of the host country, a peacekeeping operation in Sri Lanka between 1987 and 1990, and an armed intervention to prevent a 1988 coup d'etat attempt in the Maldives. After the 1965 war with Pakistan, India began to pursue close military and economic ties with the Soviet Union. By the late 1960s, the Soviet Union was its largest arms supplier. 266. Aside from ongoing its special relationship with Russia. 267. India has wide-ranging defense relations with Israel and France. In recent years, it has played key roles in the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation and the World Trade Organization. The nation has provided 100,000 military and police personnel to serve in 35 UN peacekeeping operations across 4 continents. It participates in the East Asia Summit, the G8+5, and other multilateral forums. 268. India has close economic ties with countries in South America. 269. Asia and Africa. It pursues a Look East policy that seeks to strengthen partnerships with ASEAN nations, Japan, and South Korea that revolve around many issues, but especially those involving economic investment and regional security. 270. 271. The Indian Air Force contingent marching at the 221st Bastille Day military parade in Paris, on 14 July 2009. The parade at which India was the foreign guest was led by India's oldest regiment, the Maratha Light Infantry, founded in 1768. 272, China's nuclear test of 1964, as well as its repeated threats to intervene in support of Pakistan in the 1965 war, convinced India to develop nuclear weapons. 273, India conducted its first nuclear weapons test in 1974 and carried out additional underground testing in 1998. Despite criticism and military sanctions, India has signed neither the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty nor the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, considering both to be flawed and discriminatory. 274, India maintains a no-first-use nuclear policy and is developing a nuclear triad capability as a part of its minimum credible deterrence doctrine. 275, 276, it is developing a ballistic missile defense shield and a fifth-generation fighter jet. 277, 278, other indigenous military projects involve the design and implementation of Vikrant-class aircraft carriers and Arihant-class nuclear submarines. 279, since the end of the Cold War, India has increased its economic, strategic, and military cooperation with the United States and the European Union. 280, in 2008, a civilian nuclear agreement was signed between India and the United States. Although India possessed nuclear weapons at the time and was not a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, it received waivers from the International Atomic Energy Agency and the Nuclear Suppliers Group, ending earlier restrictions on India's nuclear technology and commerce. As a consequence, India became the sixth de facto nuclear weapons state. 281, India subsequently signed cooperation agreements involving civilian nuclear energy with Russia. 282, France. 283, the United Kingdom. 284, and Canada. 285, Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India, left. Background, in talks with President Enrique Pena Nieto of Mexico during a visit to Mexico 2016. The President of India is the Supreme Commander of the nation's armed forces, with 1.45 million active troops. They compose the world's second largest military. It comprises the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, the Indian Air Force, and the Indian Coast Guard. 286. The official Indian defense budget for 2011 was $36.03 billion or 1.83% of GDP. 287. Defense expenditure was pegged at $70.12 billion for fiscal year 2022-23 and increased 9.8% than previous fiscal year. 288. 289. India is the world's second largest arms importer. Between 2016 and 2020, it accounted for 9.5% of the total global arms imports. 290. Much of the military expenditure was focused on defense against Pakistan and countering growing Chinese influence in the Indian Ocean. 291. In May 2017, the Indian Space Research Organisation launched the South Asia satellite, AGIFT, from India to its neighbouring SAARC countries. 292. In October 2018, India signed a $5.43 billion, over $400 billion, agreement with Russia to procure 4 S-400 Triumph surface-to-air missile defense systems, Russia's most advanced long-range missile defense system. 293. Economy. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the Indian economy in 2021 was nominally worth $3.04 trillion. It is the sixth largest economy by market exchange rates, and is around $10.219 trillion, the third largest by purchasing power parity, PPP. 297, with its average annual GDP growth rate of 5.8% over the past 2 decades, and reaching 6.1% during 2011-2012. 298. India is one of the world's fastest growing economies. 299. However, the country ranks 139th in the world in nominal GDP per capita and 118th in GDP per capita at PPP. 300. Until 1991, all Indian governments followed protectionist policies that were influenced by socialist economics. Widespread state intervention and regulation largely walled the economy off from the outside world. An acute balance of payments crisis in 1991 forced the nation to liberalize its economy. Winking sad smiley 301. Since then it has moved slowly towards a free market system. 302. 303. By emphasizing both foreign trade and direct investment inflows. 304. India has been a member of World Trade Organization since the 1st of January 1995. 305. The 522 million worker Indian labor force is the world's second largest, as of 2017. 286. The services sector makes up 55.6% of GDP. The industrial sector 26.3% and the agricultural sector 18.1%. India's foreign exchange remittances of $87 billion in 2021, highest in the world, were contributed to its economy by 32 million Indians working in foreign countries. 306. Major agricultural products include rice, wheat, oilseed, cotton, jute, tea, sugarcane, and potatoes. 16. Major industries include textiles, telecommunications, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, food processing, steel, transport equipment, cement, mining, petroleum, machinery, and software. 16. In 2006, the share of external trade in India's GDP stood at 24%, up from 6% in 1985. 302. In 2008, India's share of world trade was 1.68%. Winking sad smiley 307. In 2011, India was the world's 10th largest importer and the 19th largest exporter. 308. Major exports include petroleum products, textile goods, jewelry, software, engineering goods, chemicals, and manufactured leather goods. 16. Major imports include crude oil, machinery, gems, fertilizer, and a farmer in northwestern Karnataka plows his field with a tractor even as another in a field beyond does the same with a pair of oxen. In 2019, 43% of India's total workforce was employed in agriculture. 294. India is the world's largest producer of milk, with the largest population of cattle. In 2018, nearly 80% of India's milk was sourced from small farms with herd size between 1 and 2. The milk harvested by hand milking. 296. Women tend to a recently planted rice field in Junagadh district in Gujarat. 55% of India's female workforce was employed in agriculture in 2019. 295. Chemicals. 16. Between 2001 and 2011, the contribution of petrochemical and engineering goods to total exports grew from 14% to 42%. 309. India was the world's second largest textile exporter after China in the 2013 calendar year. 310. Averaging an economic growth rate of 7.5%.